Hello ladies and gentlemen, Quivz here, Quivz does stuff. Today, not a very interesting video at all. Honestly, I recommend you skip it and go and watch something else. Maybe not necessarily mine, just whatever you feel like today. I'm just going live because, well, I'm playing it and I might as well do something. I didn't do anything yesterday, I took a day off. Spend most of the day just watching Cyberpunk news and reviews. But yeah, I need something to play in the meantime until Cyberpunk comes out tomorrow. And I have a whole bunch of stuff to do in Monster Hunter World. Specifically, I'm broke. I got no cash. I did the optional... what are they called? Well, Monster Hunter World movie missions with Artemis. So I've got all the bits and pieces to build the Artemis set, and I'm wearing several pieces of said set. I just happen to be completely and utterly broke and can't finish making the other pieces of the set, so I don't have enough money. So yeah, I mean, I'm wearing layered armor, but that's the actual... Can I take layered armor off? How do you take layered armor off? There. So you're supposed to sort of look a bit like Artemis, I guess her name is Mila Jovovich. So you've got her hair. That's actually her hair, which I think is silly, but anyway. I do like this direwolf set, so I'm going to leave that on. I think you look cool. Yeah, so, I mean, I could do much higher rank missions, master rank optionals, etc., to try and gain cash, use up my vouchers, etc., and that'd be nice and quick. But part of me hates going back here and going, there are all these things that I haven't done. So I'm going to go back and do all of them. I'm just going to finish a lot of them. It'll take forever to get enough money to do anything worthwhile. And it'll take forever to finish all these missions. But that's what I'm going to do. It's going to take a long time. Something grindy and... I don't know. I'm still entertained. I don't know why I'm still entertained. These shouldn't be entertaining. They are low-level quests. My gear level is way too high for it. It took me like 3 minutes to capture Akula Yaku. It was pretty funny. He didn't get to attack me more than twice. But yeah, you know, I don't need to do it. I'm gonna do it because it's something that I would have done originally anyway. Normally I would go through and finish every quest before progressing, do all the optionals before doing the next story one. I didn't do that because I wanted to get to Iceborne because I've never seen Iceborne. I did that, I got to Iceborne, I saw some Iceborne, I started harvesting Beatotus. I did the optional Artemis quests just because there's just too many things in front of me, like there's just so many things in my quest log, and there's so many people standing around with question marks, exclamation marks over their head. I wanted to get rid of some of it. And, yeah. So I did that, and apparently the Artemis gear is like the next Guardian set. It's like, it'll carry you through the whole of Master Rank if you just keep upgrading it. So I'm going to build it, and then not upgrade it and not wear it. Because that's just me. I'm going to be slightly contrary, make things harder for myself. Because I get more enjoyment out of the game than doing it. I get less enjoyment when I can do it super easy. I did it to get to Iceborne because I've never seen Iceborne. That was different. I have gotten, you know, 100+ hours enjoyment out of all the pre-Iceborne content already. I don't need any more enjoyment out of the pre-Iceborne content. Having said that, here I am enjoying more of the pre-Iceborne content, so it's just made a complete and utter contradiction in terms. Not an oxymoron, because an oxymoron, by definition, has to actually be 2 words. So, small giant is one, but I can't think of an example. If it's not a word and then another word that directly contradicts that first word, it's not an oxymoron. Then it's a contradiction in terms. Because then they're terms. I mean, the two words can be terms as well, like small giant is still a contradiction in terms. It's just also an oxymoron. All oxymorons are contradictions in terms. Not all contradictions in terms are oxymorons. Completely useless bit of information that I've just waffled on about there, but oh well, there you go. I learn something new every day. I can't remember when I learned that, but it was one of those like interesting, oh really, I've been doing that wrong all this time. There was another one. What was the other one that I was doing wrong? Can't remember. Like another one, like people think, the dictionary never changes. That's not what a dictionary is. A dictionary is about how we use words. So if people start using a word incorrectly, and everybody uses that word incorrectly, it becomes common usage, and that is now part of the usage of the dictionary. So literally, when you said literally, it used to mean exactly that. It didn't mean the hyperbole version that we use it now. Like, I was literally on fire. And so unless you were physically burning and had flames coming off you, that wouldn't be the definition of literally years and years and years ago. But because common usage literally has just become a word that's the equivalent of hyperbole, like I was literally on fire, which means you were really hot. That's common usage, and that's now accepted usage. Same as saying, what's my character's name? Pearl and I. Because people say me and Pearl all the time, even though the correct usage used to be Pearl and I, you can now say me and Pearl. Because that's how language works. It works the way it's used, not the way it's written down. The way it's written down is just what it was. It was like a historical
and securing that supply route.
Overview. So yeah, a lot of people get really upset about that. It's like, no, it's not. That's not how you use it. It's completely wrong. It's not what the dictionary says. And it's like, well, have you read this year's Oxford Dictionary? Because I bet you it's in there. You should see all the memes that are currently in the dictionaries. Like all of those things, they got added. That's some of it's horrible, but it's in there. Like these days, I mean, the word meme had to be added first, and now all the actual memes are also been added. So yeah, it's somewhat depressing, but also once you sort of understand it, it's like, yeah, well look, if that's the way people speak, then that's what the dictionary should have, because that's the point. There is no point not having the words that we use in everyday life in the dictionary. It doesn't matter how stupid the word is, doesn't matter how incorrect it sounds to people. It should be in the dictionary because that's the point of the dictionary. Alright, so that's another piece of Artemis gear because I had enough money, and now I am broke again and I don't have enough money for the final piece, but I do have the things for it. I think what I don't have is enough chocolate for all the layered bits. So I think I need to collect 5 of these notebooks to make the layered Artemis armor, which looks like that. And honestly, I don't care because it doesn't look very good anyway. So I'm really not going to bother with the layered armor. I might make the one piece since I've got the piece of chocolate in my inventory. I assume that's got something to do with the movie. There was also a slight problem with the movie. Apparently there was a line where some character is referring to his knees, and then he goes on about, is this kind of knees? Is this that kind of knees? Is this Chinese? And the Chinese people got upset about it. And I don't know whether it was a lost in translation thing. I think in the translation it's kind of more racist and offensive. I don't know if that's racist and offensive. It doesn't feel racist and offensive to me. It feels like a pun on pronunciation as opposed to a pun at the expense of any race. But in translation it might be a lot worse. So that's my guess. I could be wrong. I'm not going to walk around saying Chinese. Under what circumstance would I ever do that in the first place? I couldn't imagine, but, you know, So that's a bit of a bummer for the movie, because it doesn't look that bad. I am upset that it's US military rather than just people from the Monster Hunter world, but, you know, could be worse. I don't know whether I'm going to go see it. Probably not. I haven't been to the movies since, well, long before COVID. What was the last thing I saw at the movies? Probably... what was the latest Star Wars one? Rise of Skywalker? Was that the 9th? Yeah, that wasn't great. I didn't find it as horrible as a lot of people did, but I'm not that invested in the Star Wars universe. From Star Wars, what I want is what I want from every other Star Wars, which is for it to be a space opera. It has to have an operatic storyline. Now, when I say operatic storyline, it basically has to be cliche. It shouldn't bring anything new. It should be totally predictable, and you should know almost exactly what's going to happen. If there is a plot twist, it should be the kind of plot twist where you almost cringe at how bad the plot twist was. That's operatic storylines, and that's what Star Wars has always been. Star Trek, on the other hand, is not operatic. Star Trek is not sitcom, is TV. Star Trek should be like TV. Even the movies, the plot twists and everything about it. Okay, in a movie, the movie settings, it should be bigger and broader and more impressive. But it should still follow a, you know, this could be a TV episode kind of thing. It's hard to describe. What am I looking for? I've already forgotten. Vespids, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Why don't I find Vespids like this? Slinger traps environmental endemic life. Oh no, not endemic. Small monsters. Vespids. Vespids near here. Gaiju, Vespids. Let's go to those Vespids. Yeah, because Star Wars was always an opera. It's a space opera. Star Trek is not, but it was a TV series and should remain that TV series sort of feel. There are other things, like, you know, I just don't expect massive things out of it. Anyway, so I was talking about Star Wars, the movie, whatever that last one was called. And I went in with low expectations in the first place, so I wasn't super disappointed. And then beyond that, I didn't notice how long the movie was. That is what I will say. So people are like, oh, it was so awful. I'm like, yeah, it wasn't great. But I sat there for however long that damn thing takes, and I didn't notice how long I was sitting there. I was in there to what is going on? Oh, I was in there, I watched the whole movie. I came out, I really looked down at my ticket and was like, that was 2.5 hours long? That didn't feel 2.5 hours long. So I was entertained enough to lose track of time, so it can't have been that bad. I mean, there are things that I've watched where I've looked at my watch every 5 minutes because, oh my god, this is so awful, I wish it would end. And I didn't get that from Star Wars. I wouldn't watch it again unless I'm looking for something to watch with my younger nieces and it's like a Sunday afternoon and I just can't find anything else and none of the family movies are really going to do it for us today. We need something with a little bit more, maybe some action. Then I might go to something like a Star Wars and be like, yeah, that'll do. That'll work. But yeah, it wasn't great. It was just okay. And it should be more than okay, because it's Star Wars. When I saw the first Star Wars, my mind was blown. That happened again in Episode 5, and it happened again in Episode 6. Episode 1 did it in places, but not all the time, and Episode 2 was successively worse, and Episode 3 was probably better than 2 in my opinion. I'm trying to remember what happens in each individual ones. Yoda fighting Count Dooku, that was the pinnacle of the series, of those 3 for me. and Darth Maul fighting Obi-Wan and what the hell was his name? Qui-Gon Jinn. That was cool as well. But other than that, I don't think those three added much. They didn't subtract as much as I think 7, 8, and 9 kind of started to almost subtract from the series, make things worse. The Empire doing it again, the whatever order, I've already forgotten what they're called, that's how much I care. Another Death Star, really? Like, that was your big plan? So yeah, the criticism where it's like, well, let's just do Star Wars Episode 4 again. Yeah, it wasn't a horrible idea. It wasn't executed brilliantly. I mean, I think you could have done that. You could have been, like, they could have unironically said, look, didn't work, it wasn't big enough, we've got to go even bigger. And I don't know, it should have taken them 2 movies to build the next kind of Death Star. It shouldn't have been something that gets destroyed within the course of that single movie. It should have been a bigger thing that they build up to and are like, well, we reckon if we go even bigger than the last one, even though we've tried going bigger once, we just didn't go even bigger enough. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's stupid. It does sound stupid now that I say it out loud. It seemed more reasonable in my own head, and now when I say it out loud, it's like, no, that's retarded. That's never going to work. Yeah, I don't know. There are some things that work and some things that don't work in movies, and I think episodes 7, 8, and 9 struggled. They had good characters. I thought Ray and oh crap, what's his name? Finn. I thought they were good characters. Same as Poe Dameron. I mean, I think Poe Dameron's just supposed to be the Han Solo replacement, but he kind of wasn't. He kind of had some of his own stuff going for him as well. Not a lot, but he did. So yeah, I thought Poe Dameron was pretty cool. So not bad. Not bad. I've seen much worse movies. And yeah, Monster Hunter World has the potential to be a pretty bad movie. And I don't know, I've kind of given up on the cinema. I mean, poor James Bond, they got screwed over pretty bad from what I've seen. They had to try and sell to Netflix and so on and so forth. Just because I guess nobody went to see it. COVID screwed things up for lots of people in lots of different ways. And one of them is cinema goers. Hooray! Another useless quest done. But hey, that's another one crossed off my list that I don't have to look at. And I think that's all of level 2. So now we'll at least move on to level 3. If only I didn't have such bad OCD and I could actually look at optional quests and be like, yeah, I don't need to do those ever. But no, I can't look at them and never, ever, ever do them. I have to do them. I have to get them out of the way. So what else is there worth talking about today? Well, probably Cyberpunk. It's coming. I am... What's the time right now? It's about 7 o'clock where I am. 7 p.m. on Wednesday the 9th. Comes out at about 10:30 a.m. Thursday the 10th. I could do maths on stream, but that's probably not a good idea. No, I can do maths on stream. 7 plus 5 is 12, which gets me to midnight plus the 9.5 hours. What did I say? 16.5 hours away. I will have to sleep in there somewhere. It looks good. It looks good.
Our first priorities are setting
reviews
up base and securing that
are all
supply
over the
route.
place. I've seen some reviews that I'm like, why is this person reviewing this game? Yeah, I'm going to call them out. Why not? I'm independent. I don't have to worry about it. GameSpot. So they had this girl, Callie, someone or another, who reviewed it. And when she did her review, she basically said, oh, I didn't do any of the crafting, and I didn't do any of the side quests, and I didn't do any of these things because that didn't interest me. And it's like, well, that's the point of the game, practically. So the game didn't interest you, but you're doing the review. So it's not a big surprise that she made a negative review. Now, one that I did see, and I don't know his name at all, somebody Fug, from Games Beat. Now, his review, he gave it a 3 out of 5. But I really respect his review, because he could justify every single point, and he was justified in every single point. It's even his kind of game. But he said, look, it's buggy as hell at the moment, so he has to review it in its current state, and in its current state, it's buggy as hell. Hopefully our day one patch makes things better, but his pre-release review, it's buggy as hell. Fine. The other thing that he said that's really, really sort of come home to me, and I have to admit is very true, is that it does nothing new. So Cyberpunk is super hyped, but you're not getting anything new. Like, the only thing that I could say might be kind of new is that we've never seen a world where there are so many NPCs just crowd walking around. So like Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, stuff like that, there's always people in the background that you can walk past, and, you know, occasionally things happen that involve them. They have conversations. They seem to have their own lives, although if you walk around a corner and come back, they've magically disappeared because they are just background crowd. Cyberpunk has the same thing, and that has more of it than we've ever seen before. Could you really call that next gen? You kind of can't. But other than that, Cyberpunk doesn't do anything, and I'm well aware Cyberpunk doesn't do anything we haven't seen before. Oh, this one actually does something for my harvest boxes. I can't remember what it is, but speaking of, I'd better go and do that now first as well. So yeah, so a lot of people, and this guy especially, was like, well, I was promised something new. I was promised something I'd never seen before, and that's not what I got. And that, in my opinion, means that his review is 100% justified. He was expecting something more than he got, because that's what he was promised, and he didn't get it. All he got was the same old. So he got, you know, a bunch of a story, a main story that's narratively interesting, with a bunch of side quests that make that narrative story more interesting, which has been done before. He got some stealth mechanics that has been done before. He got the way you can approach the same mission in multiple different ways. That's been done before. Branching dialogue, that's been done before. Repeatable quests that exist in an open world to allow you to grind levels and money and stuff, that's been done before. The melee mechanics have been done before. The weapons have all pretty much been done before. I mean, guns that can shoot through walls, it's been done before. Bullets that home in on enemies, that's been done before. So I have to agree with him. He reviewed it from the point of view of his expectations, and he said so. And he gave it 3 out of 5 because from his expectations, it didn't do anything new, and he was promised new stuff. Fair enough. I bet you, though, that besides this guy's review schedule, so games that he has to review for his job, I bet you he goes back and he plays more of it. And he especially might move to a 4 out of 5 in regards to... I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing on this quest. Oh, Bauble Cactus. Okay, that's not so bad. He will probably change his review score when the bugs are fixed. Or change his opinion, if not. He might not go back and change the review score. That's excessive. But, you know, his opinion, he might be like, yeah, this is a better game than it was when it was hard to play. Now it's not so hard to play. I'm less upset about it. But his bad review, because 3 out of 5 is 60%, and he is one of those that are skewing the Metacritic results, is entirely justified. Whereas Callie What's-Her-Face's thing, I mean, okay, it's justified for her, but why are you reviewing a game you don't like? What kind of company do you work for where they grab someone who isn't going to like the game and get them to review it? She spent more time going on about CD Projekt Red's alleged transphobia. And I mean, name another game where you can choose to look masculine or feminine and then choose your genitals that don't match with that or do match with that and then choose your voice. Okay, it's limited. You are referred to as a male or female pronoun according to whether you chose a masculine or a feminine voice. And that also has other repercussions, like, from what I've heard, for example, if you choose a masculine voice, they will refer to, you know, you've got balls, big balls, or whatever, which, you know, you can in some ways take as just a saying, regardless of what your actual genitalia is. But, you know, if you don't have that genitalia, it's like, well, that's not really right. But a lot of these people are like, oh, they didn't do anything positive. And it's like, well, they didn't do anything positive for cisgenders either, did they? Night City says, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter whether you're gay, straight, bi, cis, trans, whether you identify as a folding card table, whether you're a sentient AI. Night City doesn't care about you. You are a commodity designed to be ground up and turned into nutrient paste for the fat cats at the top of the pyramid. That's what you are. So what CD Projekt Red was gave you a game with absolute equality. Nobody is better than anyone else. Everybody is absolutely equal. It doesn't matter what your race is, what your sexual identity is. You are all nothing to Night City. And, I mean, I don't know what people were expecting. I think that is the best that... Well, okay, it's not the best you could ask for, but it is the best they could do without making a completely pro-trans game. If that's what they were going to do, then they would have said, yeah, you know, if you're trans, you get all these benefits that you don't get if you're cis. That's not what they set out to do, and that's not what they should have set out to do. Absolute equality. Doesn't matter what you are treated the same regardless. I mean, isn't that what we're going for in the first place? That's what I would have thought we'd be going for. Everything else sounds artificial to me. Then you just, you know, then you're getting special treatment in the other direction. It's like, yeah, it's reverse discrimination. You're still getting discriminated against, it's just the discrimination is now in your favor as opposed to against you. Instead, CD Projekt Red made everything 100% equal. You are just the same as everyone else regardless. I think that's a good thing. I think that's to be applauded. And CD Projekt Red, having done this, makes it easier for someone to go and make that pro-trans, pro-gay, pro-whatever game. Things that we've never seen before. And I'm pretty sure there have been pro-other, non-binary, and I don't even know what the frickin' wording is for it. Please understand, I have no prejudices in that respect. I'm just mostly ignorant of terminology. I only was only with, Kylie Jenner for a moment there. I forgot which way she went. I'd never heard of dead naming before. So that was just an ignorance thing. I had no idea that that was bad. So you don't speak about who they were before and what their name was before. Oh, and the other one, Elliot Page? I have been dead naming her for months because I was unaware that she decided, damn it, see? It's confusing, and there's no intent here. I'm not trying to be an arse. I didn't know that he had decided that he was he. That he'd changed pronoun. So first I'd heard of it was like 6-7 hours ago. But yeah, what was I saying? Oh yes, absolute equality in Cyberpunk, and I think that's the best thing, and that a more pro game can much easier be made because of Cyberpunk. But Cyberpunk isn't that game. Cyberpunk is just the game where they pick on everyone evenly. Doesn't matter who you are, you should feel uncomfortable and awkward. There was the whole thing about the one ad that they showed. Well, that ad was cherry-picked. Have you seen some of the other ads? Like, you slow down the video footage that's been released and you look at some of the billboards. Male, female, trans. It's exploitative of everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. There's stuff there to make you feel like an object. It's both horrible and excellent environmental storytelling if you're mature enough to recognize it for what it is. Yeah, you can get upset about it, or you can understand that it has meaning within the context of the game. At least I assume it does. For all I know, I could play the game and be entirely wrong about it. And it's like, well, they really just picked on trans people for no good reason, or they really just... I'm expecting them actually to be a little bit less even-handed between just males and females. I expect females to actually get a bit of a rawer deal, and some of that is to do with, for example, I've heard that Johnny Silverhand, Keanu Reeves' character, is a bit of a chauvinistic pig, and that fits right in with his character, so that could be... I don't know, I bet you he gets a redemption arc in that respect. Something tells me he's going to get a redemption arc in that respect. Anyway, I guess we'll see. There's only so much I can say. I haven't played it. A lot of this is just from the reviews that have already been. Some people are going to be angry about things that I've said. Well, that's fair enough. But look, my opinion is, I don't give a damn what you are so long as you're happy. And Cyberpunk doesn't give a damn what you are so long as you keep adding to the corporate grind and providing sustenance for the fat cats that sit at the top of the pyramid. And that is 100% equality, and as far as I was concerned, that's what we were going for, because anything else is inequality. If any group is being favoured, then it's not right. Making the distinction between groups is probably part of the problem. If there wasn't even a distinction anymore, that would be idyllic. So if people just looked at it and went, well, those are humans, and that was the end of it, that was all you looked at, it's like, humans. That should be what we're going for. Again, unless, like I said, you identify as a folding card table, or what's the other good one? An attack helicopter? I don't know where that comes from, but that's apparently a big one. I identify as an attack helicopter. Yeah, look, I really don't care. Don't kill people, don't touch kids. That's fine with me. There's probably other major crimes that I'd also be against.
Our first priorities are setting up base and
those are the two major ones that come to mind immediately. Other than that, you do you. That's sort of the whole point. I'm doing me. I just happen to be a boring, straight, cisgendered male.
Whoa.
But that's circumstance. It's not, it's hard to describe that, hard to explain it. It's not a choice. It's not a choice for anyone. It's just who you are, and who I am happens to be what is currently considered more normal. I'm getting really bogged down in this. I'm going to stop talking about it and talk about other things. what am I going to do when Cyberpunk comes out? I could stream immediately, and I considered it, and I'm not going to do it. Oh, I can go and fight that thing again. Ooh. Yeah, I'm really not going to do that right now. Deliver 2 herbivore eggs. This is painful. Can be done though. I'm going to play for myself first and foremost, because that's what I do. I play games for me. I only stream because it's like, well, I might as well do both, because I play a lot of games anyway. But in the case of Cyberpunk, I'm definitely going to have to turn streamer mode on, and I don't want to play my first impressions of the game. I don't want to be streamer mode on. I want to hear all the soundtrack. I want to see all the nudity, all the swearing, all the horrible nitty-gritty. I want to experience it all as it was intended. I didn't write any of that. How do I do it? What is it? No, how do I go back? You can now ride Tail Rider monsters? Ah. Use your items to sling and open the wildlife map. As usual, with some new actions to keep in mind. Tab to set a destination. Shift while running. Walk handy for gathering materials. Shift while walking. Run. Space dismount. Left click dismount while performing a draw attack. You cannot control the monster directly. The monster will... if you don't set a destination, the monster will follow tracks. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Oh, I didn't see it yet. Oh well, doesn't matter. Egg. Where's the egg? It's over here somewhere, isn't it? I go down here and then I hang a left and I just keep going left and like around there, I think. That's the wyvern egg, but we don't want that. We'll do that. That's another... Actually, I don't think that's in this map. I think that's in the ancient forest. Yeah, so no at release, the minute of release live stream from me. I will be playing until I get bored and I feel like stopping, at which point I will take a break, and then I will come back with a live stream where I will start a different life path and a different character for the purposes of the live stream, with all the live streaming options that CD Projekt Red was kind enough to give us on. I don't know whether you have to kill these Aptonaths, but if I'm about to steal their eggs, I'd rather they be further away, because they're about to get very upset with me anyway.
You'll need both hands to carry larger materials. Let's get this back to camp and prep it for delivery. Keep in mind that transporting an egg will attract different types of threats, either from hungry monsters or the egg's mother.
And yeah, depending on, I mean, I'm going to be going live later than everyone else. I might not get any viewers, but I might get viewers, which I don't normally. Occasionally people drop into my live streams. It's happened before. It might happen again. And when and if it does, if people want to make choices, I will let them make choices. So for example, I might, if people are there for character creation, they can help me create the character from scratch. And go, alright, I want you to be a dude with a vagina, and I want you to play Street Kid, and so on and so forth. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Pick dialogue choices and so on and so forth. So I'll end up doing something probably that hopefully wouldn't have done myself. I might be wrong. We might end up damn near with exactly the same as what I was doing on my own. But yeah, so there'll be 2 playthroughs. There'll be my own private playthrough, which I suppose none of you will see Maybe I will do some videos on this is how far I've gotten, this is where I'm up to, these are the things I'm doing now. And then there'll be an entirely different save game that'll be for live streaming, and I will, for as long as I'm playing lots and lots and lots of it, probably do that on a daily basis. Just every day go, alright, here's a bit more Cyberpunk for you all to take in. Here's the character I was playing last time you looked at me, and here's the character. And we will continue with that character again. Alright, so get out of the way. I need you to move. Thank you. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's been a while since I've had a game with that kind of depth. Skyrim has always been one of my favourite games. The Fallout series is excellent for exactly the same reason as Skyrim. There is a point to it, there is a story, and you don't have to do it. I've been playing Elder Scrolls games since Daggerfall. I never finished the story in Daggerfall. I never finished the story in... oh god, what numbers are we actually up to? Daggerfall... Morrowind, that's the one I'm forgetting. I never finished Morrowind, I never finished Oblivion, and I never finished Skyrim. And I looked, and I have collectively between the original edition and the special edition over 700 hours in Skyrim, and I've never seen the end to the main storyline. I have similarly to Monster Hunter World, probably another 200, 300 hours in Skyrim on console. Because... ah, damn it. You bastards. Yeah, you deserve to die for that. Yeah, there was so much to do, and the main quest wasn't what I was really into. Now, apparently, in this, things might be different. In Cyberpunk, that is. Because apparently the story writing is better. I mean, it's not like I thought Skyrim was bad, but I will say it's not like the best storyline that I've ever seen. I didn't feel conflicted, excited, or like have to find out what happened next. I've also said this before on this channel. I have played The Witcher several times, and I get like a couple of hours in and stop playing. It just doesn't do it for me. So I don't know. That might have some bearing on how I feel about the Cyberpunk story. We shall have to see. But I think Cyberpunk is more my kind of game than The Witcher is. The Witcher was... well, it had that whole third-person thing going for it, and it was... I don't know, Cyberpunk looks more like Fallout, and I think Fallout is also very good. In the same way as Skyrim is, it's very open-ended. Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4. I haven't played 76. Kind of glad I haven't played 76, because that looks like a pretty abortive piece of junk. A lot of the big games companies are struggling recently. They've been making decisions based purely on financials, and they've forgotten what it is to be a gamer. EA kind of pulled themselves back a little bit by eventually fixing Battlefront. Squadrons, I think, was good, besides for the controller issues I had when playing it in VR. The mouse wouldn't stay centered on a single screen, which means periodically I'd have to lift my visor up to get my mouse to return to the monitor that I'm actually playing the game on, because otherwise my ship would just spin in circles. But it was a good game. It felt like X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter, the really, really old one. It was simplistic, it didn't have too much frills, it just did what it set out to accomplish in a very simple meaningful way, and that was worth it. Yeah, so that's kind of one that's you know, kind of drawing it back for a big company, but Blizzard has been getting a lot of flack. I think Diablo 4, if done well, will get me back on their side, but Warcraft 3 really didn't. The Diablo mobile game didn't really upset me as much as it did other people. I wasn't expecting them to announce Diablo 4. I'm like, no, it's too early. Diablo 3 hasn't run it's nowhere near finished yet. That hasn't... I mean, I can still go and play that now. It's a good game. I don't need a Diablo 4, but we're getting a Diablo 4 soon enough anyway. World of Warcraft and all of its expansions.
Our first priorities are setting up base and
don't get me
securing
wrong,
that supply
I've sunk
route.
hundreds of hours into World of Warcraft. I had a level 90 chamois. Oh god, what are they called again? Horns and Tails. The blue guys. Oh, I can't remember the name of that race. That's terrible. Anyway. Yeah, I played the crap out of that game. I got really far. I was doing end of game content. And then, like, Pandaren came out and I started losing interest. No, it wasn't even Pandaren. It was the one with the goblins and the werewolves. I started losing interest around then. And I've never really been back. I've dropped in occasionally to check. I've looked and my characters are still there. That's pretty amazing. I'll give them credit for that as well.
Whoa.
Yeah, it just keeps going on and on and on, and it's such a money grab without any real substance anymore. I mean, they try really hard, but it is... I don't know. I'm probably being too harsh on it. I just don't feel as good about Blizzard as I used to. I thought Overwatch was really good as a team shooter. It's nothing that Team Fortress didn't already do, but as their version thereof, I thought it was good. But yeah, I don't know. Blizzard hasn't done anything super awesome in a while. Overwatch was good, but it wasn't great. It's just good. It's like another one of those. Fine, you made one. Nice work. StarCraft 2 was good. I'll give them that. That was just StarCraft again, which is all we wanted. That's really the weird thing about Blizzard, is that if they try to reinvent the wheel, that's the worst thing that they could do, because that's not what anyone wants from Blizzard. We want award-winning cutscenes and the next iteration on the same game that you've already made. That's a horrible thing to say, and now I feel a bit guilty. Maybe I should give Blizzard a bit more of a break, because they should be allowed to innovate if they want to. But that's just not what people want out of Blizzard. From Blizzard, our expectations are you don't rush release. You take as long as it frickin' takes, like CD Projekt Red did. You take as long as it takes to bring out a game that's awesome. That's all we want. Yeah, hopefully they'll, with Diablo 4, some of the higher ups will sort of get the idea. Similar thing with Bethesda. I mean, okay, Skyrim was good, but Skyrim came out 9 years ago. Yeah, Fallout 76 was a bit of a disaster. Fallout 4 was alright. There are people that say it's not as good as New Vegas. It's really much of a flavor of what's your flavor thing. Do you like chocolate? Do you like vanilla? I think New Vegas was chocolate with sprinkles and marshmallows, and some of us like a bit of vanilla with nothing on it occasionally. And Fallout 4 was more that, whereas New Vegas was a bit more... Yeah, I'll admit the storytelling was better. Fallout 4 New Vegas had better storytelling. But, you know, Bethesda has to do a lot of work to get me back on side again. There are some companies that do some of these things that I'm still on their side. So Frontier Developments, they make Elite Dangerous, Planet Coaster, Planet Zoo, a few other things. Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo, could there be any more DLC? There's just everything is a pack that you have to pay for. And that's not my favourite way of dealing with things. However, having owned both Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo, and the Jurassic World game as well. Owning all three of those, as well as Elite Dangerous, and having paid for none of the expansions, those are still excellent games, and I'm glad it's in their hands because they do it right. Jurassic World was a bit of a mess at release, and I think that's because it's developed in party with a movie franchise, which means Frontier Developments actually got a lot less say, whereas Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo, when they came out, yeah, they had some bugs, but they weren't horrible bugs, and the game was still super fun to play. Whereas some parts of Jurassic World were actually crap to play because they were buggy or unfinished or looked terrible or weren't what we were promised. I still like the game. I can still play that for hours and hours and hours. I played the old Jurassic Park Evolution or whatever it was called, which is the same sort of park building game where you actually build your own Jurassic Park. Yeah, some of them are good, some of them are bad. So Frontier, there are many reasons why I should dislike them because of all the DLC, as I said before. But they've been making the same games for decades. I'm pretty sure Elite dates back to the early 80s, before I even got, my Atari 2600, which was my first gaming experiences. I didn't play an Elite game until the Nintendo Entertainment System in about 91, maybe 92 was the first time I played Elite. And I've played every Elite since, and I've never been disappointed. Except for Frontiers. Elite Frontiers, the one for which the game is now the company is now known, Frontier Developments. Frontiers came out when the internet was in its infancy, and that game was a buggy mess. So much so that out of the box it was virtually unplayable. And you could get patches, but to get patches you had to go on the internet. And the internet was in its infancy, and it was really hard to get patches unless you knew what you were doing, and I didn't know what I was doing. So I played Frontiers, we bought it, we played it. I tried really hard to like it, and I couldn't get into it because it was a buggy mess. Elite Dangerous is much better. Essentially the fourth one in the series, whereas Frontiers was the third in the series. But yeah, David Braben, I assume he's CEO or major shareholder or lead developer or whatever the hell he titles himself, is the man. He's been doing it a long time. He's up there with Sid Meier. Yeah, those are great games. I'll talk about other games like that. SimCity. SimCity kicked it for forever. Decades and decades and decades of good SimCity. And don't get me wrong, EA's last SimCity was an abysmal launch. But when you did play the game, it was a good game. The problem is now we have City Skylines, and if you ask me, City Skylines does it better. That's a bit of a shame, because it's not like Maxis EA does a bad job. Those people actually do good work, if you ask me. I never thought I'd like The Sims, and then I played my first Sims game, and to this day I still play The Sims occasionally. I've got The Sims 4, I have several packs. I've given them a lot of money towards bits and pieces of the Sims franchise, because it's good. I think it's good. I think it's well made, it's well crafted. It does exactly what you want it to do without doing a whole bunch of extra crap. They don't have to reinvent the wheel. That being said, they kind of do reinvent the wheel. Every time there's a new one of those, there's new things about it that makes it cooler than the last one. But they're good. They're excellent games. They are fun to play. And yeah, Maxis, SimCity goes back ages. Sims doesn't go back as far, but these days actually it does. Like it's decades now, at least 2 decades, I'm pretty sure, to go back to the original Sims. Sims 4 is good. It's a great game. It's totally worth your time and money. If you're into that sort of thing. If it's not your kind of game, well then, of course it's not. Who else makes good games that have disappointed us recently? Who makes Doom? Is that still id Software? They should be still making Wolfenstein all these years later. I do believe there was a couple of crappy Wolfensteins in there before the new Wolfensteins that were coming out. I think Youngbloods didn't review as well as all the others, but I think the game is really good. And Doom, I haven't actually played it. They were never 100% my kind of game. I played Doom and things like Doom because back in the 486 game days, there weren't that many games in the first place. So you played what you could get your hands on, and if Doom was one of them, or you played Doom. Yeah, they look great and they review really well. So credit where it's due. If the id Software guys are still kicking it, they're doing a good job. I'm happy for them that they are still kicking it and still releasing genre-defining games. I think that's awesome. What other ones are there? Sid Meier is still kicking it, but it's mostly just Civ these days. There weren't a lot of Sid Meier games that I thought were great, but I did like the Railroad Tycoon, or whatever it was called. Sid Meier's Railroads might have been. Pirates was really fun. I used to like the Colonization one, which was different to Civ, but similar. They did do for Civ 4 or 5. There was a colonization kind of game, but it wasn't the same. It was similar, it wasn't the same. Did I forget to grab things from the... I did. I might go back. I think it's over there. Where is it? Yeah, it's over there. Might go back and grab the free trap and trank bombs. But yeah, Firaxis these days. They used to also, I believe, just be part of EA. Sid Meier, or maybe EA bought it really late and then made their own Civ once. One of the Civs wasn't made by Sid Meier, and it wasn't great. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. It wasn't what we came to expect from Sid. And he went off and made his own company called Firaxis and made Alpha Centauri. The whole point of Civilization games, the early Civilization games, was to get off the planet and head for Alpha Centauri. That was one of the victory possibilities. And yeah, so the first game that he made when he separated from, I believe it was EA, but I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, he made Alpha Centauri, which for the first time was, alright, this is what happens when you do finally get to Alpha Centauri. And it was a Civ-like game, and it was great. And then he got his intellectual property back at some point and made Civ 5 or 4, I think 5. And that was great, and Civ 6 is great. And I absolutely and utterly suck at Civ games. I really like playing them, and I can't beat them on Civilian. On Settler, on the easiest levels, I generally struggle to win. The easiest levels with like the minimum number of computer opponents and everything set to easy and no barbarians and stuff, and I still suck at it. There's something wrong with me. I don't get it. I don't know what I'm doing. I just play it really badly. But I love the games. Come get some. What's the other one I was just thinking of in relation to that? Oh yes, Ubisoft.
Now, keep hitting it with trank bombs until the effect kicks in.
I am new to the Anno series, but the Anno series is, in my opinion, the spiritual successor to the Settlers series. Now, the Settlers series, as far as I can tell, hasn't even stopped. But Settlers and Settlers 2 were exceptional games, and I think Anno... I think the first one I played was 1606. Felt like a spiritual successor to those old school Settlers games, not the newer modern ones. The newer modern ones have their place and they're kind of fun, but I don't rate them as highly as I rate the original Settlers and now the Anno series. Anno 1800 is fantastic. It looks absolutely gorgeous. It plays amazingly. It's another game where I'm not very good at it. I kind of suck at it. And
Our
yet
first
I love
priorities
it.
are setting up
There's
base
also the
and
Tropico
securing that
series,
supply
which I'm
route.
relatively new to, but they're really good. I own Tropico 4 and 5. I didn't get 6. I should really get 6. 6 looks good, and if it's more Tropico, well, I'm going to enjoy that, because I enjoy Tropico. And again, I'm not great at it. There seems to be something about those city management sims I suck at. I will point out that that actually holds true for SimCity as well.
Good luck.
I haven't finished or done really well except on SimCity 2000. Was the last time I did really, really well in a SimCity game. And even then I was probably playing on super easy stuff.
Whoa.
Most of them I just suck at. Let's see, what are the ancient... Final Fantasy, can't kick Final Fantasy, and to the same extent, Dragon Quest. I wasn't a huge Dragon Quest fan because I believe that was the Enix side of things, and I was more of a Squaresoft fan. So I played a lot of the Final Fantasies. I played Chrono Trigger, I played Secret of Mana. I don't know what else there was. Lufia, I think, was one of the only Enix games I ever actually played. Dragon Quest I didn't play until The Cursed King, or Curse of the Something King. Sorry, currently looking behind me trying to find it on my shelf. It's up there somewhere. I think it's a PS3 game. So I'm looking at PS2, so it might be in the PS2 section for obvious reasons. The hell is that? No, that's Marvel vs. Capcom. Ooh, Capcom. Talk about another company that does good work. Not a huge fan of the way Street Fighter V, you had to buy all the separate characters, but I did happen to get it on special and get everything just recently, so I'm pretty happy with that. Street Fighter I've kind of moved a bit away from. It's not my kind of fighting game anymore. Well, it is and it isn't. I've got no one to play against. I don't like playing online. I don't like playing with lag. They're good. They look great. I do like the art direction these days. The real chunky 3D, but very chunky rather than realistic characters. I also really like Soul Calibur. I've always been a big fan of the Soul... What were they when they were at the beginning? Soul Edge? Whatever the original ones was called before it became Soul Calibur. I played a lot of them. I've always thought they were pretty good. I am a fan of the Dead or Alive series. I also think that's a really good fighting game. It's a bit more button bashy than Soul Calibur, but I also like the parry system more. It feels more good. The feedback, you feel more accomplished when you get your combo off and he doesn't get his combo off because you parried better than he parried. Been a big fan of that series for a long time. And yeah, like I said, I'm a straight cis male. I'm also a fan of the Dead or Alive Extreme series. I have all of them, except for the PSP ones. That should be really sad, but you know what? Screw it. I think they're good games. They're fun. It's the best volleyball game I've seen. Find me a better volleyball game and maybe I'll play that instead. There used to be one on PlayStation 1. There was this really sick tricked out 2-on-2 volleyball game where you had special moves and stuff, and it played really well and felt kind of realistic. It wasn't super realistic. It's more anime style with like special moves and stuff like that, but the actual gameplay was fun. Like the loop was excellent. Tony Hawk's making a comeback. Tony Hawk's 5 was abysmal. I must admit, it sits on my shelf. I bought it because I felt like some Tony Hawk and I thought, how bad could it possibly be? It can be pretty bad. It did scratch the itch. I'll give him that. I had a hankering to play Tony Hawk's, and I bought Tony Hawk's 5, and I played it for like 10 hours or something, and then I didn't feel like playing Tony Hawk's anymore. Not because it was a bad game, but because it still scratched the Tony Hawk's itch, and I was like, yeah, that's cool, I'm done with that now. but it was pretty bad. It wasn't as good. The soundtrack wasn't very good. There was a whole bunch of reasons why it just wasn't very good. Hunter Pukey Pukey. Alright, I don't know whether you can capture them in the arena, but I think in the arena I'm just going to beat the crap out of it. Yeah, now that I think about it, there are a lot of franchises that just keep going and going and going and going and going. I should look behind me. What else is there? I mean, this Monster Hunter one is a pretty long-running franchise now as well. Need for Speed, that one goes up and down. There's been good ones and bad ones. King of Fighters, the other Street Fighter, pretty solid. I think I barely played their most recent one. There's Bloody Raw. Haven't seen one of those in a long time. They're good. They're good fighting games. I really like them. In a similar vein to Dead or Alive Extreme, I play the Senran Kagura games. I like the fighting ones. The fighting ones are pretty cool. They're good fun. I've tried some of the other ones and it's like, well, this is pointless. I haven't tried the pinball one. That doesn't hold any fascination for me. I tried the first-person shooter one and that wasn't great. And I went, no, I might try the next fighting game version that you bring out, but other than that, I'm no longer interested in your series. What else have I got? I've got so many things on the shelf. Infamous, I've never really played an Infamous game. I played one. I can't even see what the name of it is here. I don't remember what it is. I remember enjoying it. It was kind of fun. Injustice, that's not bad for a fighting game. Didn't hold me as much as Street Fighter does. Pokemon, I get every Pokemon game. It's dumb. I didn't even enjoy Sword and Shield very much. I got nowhere. Yeah. Pokemon Sword and Shield. I used to really like Pokemon games. I was very young when I was like 13 or 14 when the first Pokemon games came out. So when Red and Blue came out. I've still got my copy of Pokemon Blue. And I used to really, really dig on Pokemon games, and I did for a long time, and I played a lot of them. And they're some of the few games that I've ever finished, seen the credits for. There's not a lot of games I've seen the credits for. But Pokemon games are one of the ones where I had. But yeah, Sword and Shield, I couldn't get into it for some reason. I don't know. There was something about it that just didn't do me the way Pokemon used to do it for me. I don't blame them for that. You know, maybe I'm just finally too old for Pokemon. But they're also a ridiculously long-running series that deserves credit because they're good. Your basic Mario games. Mario Wii, I think was the last one I played, and that's excellent. I don't care how you look at it, it's a great game. It's Mario Brothers, exactly how you want Mario Brothers to be. What else? Mario Kart, similar vein. I never really got into the Sonic games. I think I bought one of them for PlayStation 3 because there wasn't much else out. I'm like, oh, well, I'll play this and see if it's any good. And it was alright. It wasn't great. In fact, I think it reviewed horribly, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I've never been a big Sonic fan. I do hope that they bring out new good Sonics. Sonic deserves it. He's a good character, and they've been going there a long time. Tekken, we were talking about fighting games. I only ever got into one Tekken game where I mastered all of King's moves. I knew every combo and every out for every throw and chain throw. But I don't really get into Tekken. It's there, it's good that it's there. It's another one that I'm glad hasn't stopped. But it's not my kind of game, so I won't really play it. Jesus, what else is there? There's so many things. I've got all these things on shelves behind me. There's all my Warcraft boxes. back when I used to buy things in stores before I had my own credit card. Gran Turismo. PlayStation's Gran Turismo is pretty solid. When it comes to car simulators, that's pretty hard to beat. I've never gotten into the Forza Horizon series or many of the other car simulated games. I imagine there are other really good ones and I'm missing out. But Gran Turismo has always done it for me. That's one of the reasons why I'm not buying a PlayStation 5 now. I don't need it. I will buy one when they bring out a Gran Turismo. What else have we got here? I think that's everything I've sort of got on my shelves. Final Fantasy.
Our first priorities are setting up base and securing that supply route.
Can't really see anything else I've got on my shelves that stick out. I thought the Guitar Hero games were pretty good, but having to buy new peripherals for each new one was a pain. Didn't always have to, but it kind of was better to do so. Yeah, I've done a lot of gaming over the years. Grand Theft Autos, absolutely solid. I really wish they would make Canis Canem Edit or Bully, depending on what part of the world you were in. Really wish they'd make a sequel to that. They could be more careful. That had to be pretty heavily edited in Australia, I believe. But if they did it well and carefully, with the way kids are now with mobile phones, and you know, kids are more adult than they were 20 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever Canis Canem Edit came out. I reckon it's like 15 to 20 years ago. They could really do a sequel. And it's not like Rockstar doesn't have the money to hire some people, put them aside, and get them to maybe do some mock-ups and go, well, we think we could try to do something in this direction, and then let some people play test it and go, yeah, that's a good idea, or no, that's going to be completely fail. Canis Canem Edit is exactly what I kind of hope the new Harry Potter game's going to be, but in the Harry Potter world. I forget what that new Harry Potter game's going to be, but that... it's set in Hogwarts, but in the 1800s. It really has to be like Canis Canem Edit. It just kind of has to. You have to go to classes and do well in classes to get better at things so that you can be better in the open world. Yeah, it's I may be a bit biased, but I think Canis Canem Edit is sort of the ideal way to deal with those kinds of games. Rockstar did it first, and you'd be hard-pressed to beat them. I guess we'll see. That's a long way away. I may or may not play it. I'll look more when reviews and things start coming out, whether it's any good. I'm a bit of a Harry Potter fan, but of the books. The movies are alright. There's nothing really bad in the movies, but the books are better. Yeah, maybe the first movie is a bit rinky-dink, but they were still trying to work out how they were going to do this. Yeah, so Harry Potter is... it has potential. We'll see. What else is there? There are so many franchises that have been going for forever now. It actually... but then there's, like, you know, the OG franchises, like Civilization, Settlers, Elite. Yeah, those guys are, you know, in their 4th and 5th decades. Yeah, I've met people who didn't know that Elite Dangerous is the 4th game in the series. They thought it was the first one. I'm like, dude, for most of you this game is older, the concept of the game is older than you are, and not just older than you are, older than I am. The first one, I would have been 1 or 2 when the first Elite came out. The same with Civ. And I'm an old man. Not young anymore. I was young. 20 years ago I was young. Yeah, but it's interesting. I should get some of these games out and do retrospectives. There's a lot of old classic games that I have a soft spot in my heart for, and I reckon if I played them now, they'd be horrible. I've recently played the new Leisure Suit Larrys because I've got a soft spot for the old ones. I was too young to be playing Leisure Suit Larry. They were adult games, technically. But the rating system wasn't as robust and accurate as it is now. And piracy was a different thing as well. But yeah, I played a lot, if not all of the Leisure Suit Larrys. And I played the two latest ones, and they were good. I don't think they're groundbreaking or anything, but they were good. They weren't as complex and as hard as Thimbleweed Park, which is supposed to scratch that point-and-click adventure itch, and absolutely does. But Thimbleweed Park was really hard, whereas Leisure Suit Larry, I hardly got stuck. It was always kind of obvious what the next thing to do was, but actually seeing the next thing actually happen was 90% of the game. It was like, oh, this is going to be hilarious. And it is, in a kitsch sort of way. I mean, it's not super funny. Some of the humor's dated or very, very small-minded jokes, but that's all I was looking for. I wasn't looking for a great new, world-breaking, groundbreaking product. I was looking for more Leisure Suit Larry, which I haven't had in a long time. And I got it. I was actually saying on a YouTube comment just recently where someone brought up the old Sierra games and talked about Leisure Suit Larry and Space Quest, that yeah, I've played them. I think the new Leisure Suit Larrys are good, if a bit overpriced. They're charging premium price for what really is like a 10, 20, not even 20 hour game, and it's kind of done. There's very little replay value.
Our first priorities are setting up base
I paid
and securing that
but that's just me. Yeah, they're probably not worth what I paid. But if they made the Laura Bow, brought back Laura Bow, so Dagger of Amun-Ra and Colonel's Bequest, I would probably pay a premium for them even if they are only of the same sort of length and level of difficulty as Larry was. Because I'm a fan. I think they're good games. They always were. I imagine if they worked really hard, they would be again. I think the people who owned Sierra are still alive. I think they don't make video games anymore. Like, they're retired. They're out of it. Not like Sid Meier, where he just doesn't code anymore. He's just in charge. At least I assume so. For all I know, he still sits down in front of a keyboard and codes, but I assume not. Same with David Braben. I imagine he's more in charge than actually sitting down and getting his fingers sore coding. But yeah, the Sierra guys, I believe all of those people are just, nope, we're out. See you later. We did our bit. But yeah, I would really like to see more. Monkey Island's another good one. I enjoyed all the Monkey Islands. I don't know whether we're really ready for another Monkey Island. It hasn't even been that long since the last one. And all the remakes. But they are good. They are good in the same way, in the same silly sense of humour way that Leisure Suit Larry was. They just also had that problem of being incomprehensible a lot of the time. And if they did them like they redid Leisure Suit Larry, where it's the same sense of humour, but not as incomprehensible, that might make for some really good games. But yeah, other Sierra games like Laura Bow and Space Quest and King's Quest. Probably missing some. Codename Iceman, I don't think that was Sierra, but it was similar. Similar in concept. Yeah, those games. Thimbleweed Park really reminded me what I was missing. Those were great games. Thimbleweed Park was good. And was like, yeah, this is what they were. This is how they should be. So yeah, I think we could do with more of those. We don't get any of them anymore. They just don't, they're not out there. What else is there? Can't think of any other sort of games that have died. I mean, these days we get new ones, like Among Us and Fall Guys. That's entirely new genres of game. And okay, I don't play Among Us. I don't have enough friends to play Among Us. And I'm not going to play with randoms because I'm not going to play with randoms. But I've seen it. It's cool. That's a really cool game concept. It's simple. It works. It's amazing that it took this long to become popular. That thing should have been on everyone's want-to-play list and have to spend hours playing list when it got released. It shouldn't have taken years and a global pandemic and everybody sitting at home with nothing to do for that game to become popular. And Fall Guys, that's Takeshi's Castle in a game. That's awesome. I was talking about Capcom, Resident Evil. I never mentioned Resident Evil. That's another good set that they've got going. Westwood. Who owns Westwood these days? Is that Electronic Arts? Do they do Red Alert and Command & Conquer? I know we just got a remastered Command & Conquer. I haven't played it, but one of my friends has been playing a lot of it. He thinks it's excellent. They're great games. They should never die. I'd be really upset if they just stopped making them one day. It's been longer than since we've had a Red Alert, I think we're due for a new Red Alert for another Command & Conquer. I could be wrong. Might be the other way around. But yeah, they're great. They need more of those. I'd be very upset if they stop making those. Dune... Well, Dune, they kind of killed themselves with Dune 2000. Dune 2 was great. That was the epitome of cool RTSs. And that dates back to before you could group select. You couldn't click and drag your mouse to drag a box around a bunch of units. You couldn't click and press shift to select multiple units. It didn't work like that. You could only give commands to each unit individually. And you couldn't just right click to give commands. You had to click and select a unit and go up into the top right of the screen and select move, and then click on the ground to move the unit there, and then you had to go up into the top left of the right of the screen and select attack, and click on the thing you wanted to attack to make it attack. Otherwise it wouldn't, it'd just stand there looking stupid. Yeah, they were amazing. They were excellent games. That was, you know, not groundbreaking, but it was excellent. And with Dune, the movie, okay, it's been delayed by a year, but there's still a lot of hype. I think if somebody wanted to sit down and make a really good RTS, and it had better be a damn good RTS, because that could fail miserably, like some of the other previous Dunes failed miserably. But if they wanted to make a new Dune, I'd be down for that. That's a good idea. What else? Trying to think back to the early days of gaming. What was I playing? Hexen, Heretic,
priorities are setting
Quake,
up base and
Unreal.
securing that supply route.
Unreal used to be story-driven. It wasn't just Unreal Tournament. There was Unreal the game. It's one of the first 3D effects games I ever played, and it was good.
Whoa.
What else? I'm sure there's more things that I'm forgetting. What were the first 3D effects games that I played? Sin. Sin was pretty cool. We are getting a new Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. That's cool. There were other Vampire the Masquerade games, but Bloodlines, the RPG, the semi-open world RPG, was better. It was buggy as hell, and it wasn't the most amazing game. I never got very far in it because I didn't get a lot of the mechanics, but I thought the setting was great, and I thought the concept was great, and I would definitely play the new one when it comes out. Trying to think through what else is there, what else was there. Oh god, I really don't want to do that. That's a pain in the arse quest, getting yoked. Let's do It's a Cryon Shamos, that's nice and easy. How long have I been going for? An hour and a half. I am getting a bit tired of this now. We'll do this one and see if I've got enough money to make that final piece of armor and then call it. I've just been waffling on about the history of gaming, basically. All started from Cyberpunk and what I expect. I think. I don't actually know how we got to this. But that is my style, that is my method. Play a game and waffle on about non-related stuff while playing said game. It either entertains you or it doesn't. Yeah, screw it. I'll alienate anyone that watches this. I don't care. I do this for me, not for you. If you like it, you can watch it. If you don't like it, there's a dislike button. I do say at the end of any of my videos, if you don't like my videos, click the dislike button, leave me a comment so I can know what it is you don't like, because I might be able to improve in the future. There's a limit to how far I'm willing to go to improve. If it's not me, I'm not going to do it in the first place. One of the things people once said was, "Oh, you should do shorter videos. An hour is too long for a video," and I was doing almost exclusively hour-long videos. And I tried it for a while, and I mean, it wasn't too bad, but it was really hard with a lot of games to get anything done in an hour. An hour's really short. So I sort of did it, and sort of didn't do it. Sort of just ignored that and went, screw you. I'm going to make my own videos. And especially now that I'm doing the live stuff again, I'll do an hour, I'll do an hour and a half, I'll do 2 hours. Oh, there's my alarm, sorry. I'll do as long or as much or as little as I want to do. Because it's me that's doing it, and I'm the important one in this equation. It's probably not the best way to run a YouTube channel, but it's not like I'm going for... this is not a money-making opportunity for me. This is just... I'm playing this much video games anyway. I might as well do something with it, and it would eventually pay as well. Then it eventually pays, but I'm not, aiming to make it pay. It's just... It might be a nice bonus at some point in the future. Probably not the way my channel's currently going. 11 subscribers and about maybe 20 watch hours the entire time I've had this channel. Yeah, not likely to see that monetization anytime soon. I'm imagining Cyberpunk will change things for me. Maybe. I might be right down the bottom of the lists. There's probably a lot of YouTubers that are going to be playing it. But I'm going to be playing it. So I might get some people dropping in to see. Just because they're so desperate for Cyberpunk content and they can't afford it, or they bought a PlayStation 5 and now they have to wait, or... I suppose they don't have to wait, do they? Let's say they bought a PlayStation 5 and it hasn't arrived yet. That would be a reason why someone might be waiting. Anyway, yeah, so there are going to be people who are going to be looking for content and can't play it themselves, and they might look at everything. And I might just get lucky enough to have some people view my content as a result of that. But again, that's much of a muchness. It doesn't matter if it happens or if it doesn't. The channel will grow sometime, or it won't. It might never grow, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I can, some point, like 10 years down the track, go back through these old videos and go, what a naive little idiot I was. Or, I suppose not little anyway, I'm about fully grown at my age. How stupid I was. Look at what I thought of this game and it turned out to be terrible. Or, I thought Cyberpunk was going to be great and it was horrible. And, yeah, there's all sorts of things that can happen. Assuming the YouTube platform itself doesn't collapse and the servers always exist. But it's not like Google. Is it part of the Google suite? Pretty sure YouTube is part of the Google suite these days, isn't it? It's not part of the Facebook suite. Pretty sure of that. Anyway. Pretty sure YouTube's not going anywhere. It doesn't look like something that could collapse in the next 10 years. Beyond that, who knows? But yeah, the next 10 years I'm pretty sure is going to be relatively safe. Where the hell am I going to find more Shamos? I don't even know where they spawn to begin with. Oops. Don't hum copyrighted content. Started humming the Beatles' Yellow Submarine there. Used to all be owned by Michael Jackson. They are slowly, bit by bit, reverting to Paul McCartney, I think. Yeah, it was really funny because Michael Jackson was the one that told Paul to invest in music, and then he bought all the Beatles stuff, so they didn't even own their own music. Michael Jackson did. But then I think Paul McCartney bought all of Buddy Holly's stuff, so he has the rights to all of that for a while. I don't remember exactly. I saw a mini doco on YouTube. Good doco. Interesting concept. I did know about the whole Michael Jackson owning the Beatles thing, because that was why for a long time you couldn't get a best of the Beatles because Michael Jackson wouldn't allow it, and it was really hard to get a Beatles song in a movie or whatever because you had to pay Michael Jackson and he wanted a lot of money for it. And now that they're slowly one by one starting to revert to Paul McCartney, he's a bit more, yeah, the Beatles kind of almost belongs to everyone at this point, and he's much more, I'm sure he's probably still getting money for it. It's like, yeah, pay me. But he's probably not asking exorbitant amounts like I might imagine Michael Jackson must have been doing. I could be wrong about that too, I don't actually know. And I don't know who owns the rights to Michael Jackson's music. I assume his estate, which probably means his dad. Yeah, who knows? Love him or hate him, the guy could sing. Alright, so we should be able to do the final piece of Artemis armor, which I will then... I'm actually wearing the whole set at the moment. I don't know what I'm going to do from here. I might wear it until I've got that Biototus set and then take it off. Or replace the bits and pieces of it with the Biototus pieces as I get them. And, you know, wear that until then. I wasn't sure whether I was going to be able to do alright wearing the Guardian set in early Iceborne content, but yeah, you're fine. If you've got fully upgraded or nearly fully upgraded Guardian armor, you can wade through Iceborne content so long as you know what you're doing. If you're really bad at Monster Hunter World, get some friends, wear the Guardian set and wade through it and get some early Iceborne content armor, like Biototus and whatever that other thing was called, I've already forgotten. So yeah, I will change equipment now because I have Biototus bits. Do I just put the Guardian bits back on? See, they're actually lower defense than the Artemis bits. So no, I don't. But I do put the Bio bits back on even if they are lower defense. By a lot. Because they are cooler. Let's say cooler. I'm going to go with cooler. Yeah, so we'll put those two pieces on and try to get the money together to make money and things together to make the other ones next time. The other thing I was also doing is I started working towards some of the upgraded hammers, and man, I'm so far behind on all the hammers, I don't know where I'm going. I'm there. I think I wanted to go this way. So I've got to get 4 frost sacks, and I think that is Legiana that I have to go and do. And then there's other stuff, like I can build that one there at that level, so I don't need to go all the way up this way. I can build that there if I can work out what the ingredients are, and that there if I can work out what the ingredients are, and I can start the Pukey one at this level. I don't have to do this level, but I kind of have to do this level if I want to get the Thunder Element ones. The bone ones have always been good, but I can sort of start there when I get the money together. But that means I can't do the Valhazak ones because I didn't start there. Yeah, so I'm going to have to go through a lot of stuff to try and collect an assortment of hammers for different circumstances. And I'm going to do that after I get the Biototus armor. So that will again be a lot of going back and doing low rank and high rank rather than master rank content. Will be another boring live stream. If I do it on a live stream, I might just do it and show you the results at some point rather than actually do it for capture. Like I said, Cyberpunk is out tomorrow, and I imagine that is going to be taking all of my gaming time because I have a feeling it is exactly my kind of game. The people who play my kinds of games and have played Cyberpunk have struggled to put Cyberpunk down, so I think I'm going to be very much the same. That being said, I could be wrong, because I didn't enjoy The Witcher as much as those people, so who knows? But yeah, so that's going to do it, guys. Thanks very much for watching. If you did like it, hit the like button. If you want to find more of my content, hit that subscribe button. If you want to know when I go live or when I upload a video, hit that bell icon. And as I said before, if you don't like this video, hit that dislike button. Go right ahead, that's what it's there for. I do appreciate, nonetheless, if you could leave me a comment letting me know what it is you don't like about it, because if it is something I can improve, I will try to improve. If it is something that I have no intention of improving on, I will like your comment and ignore it. But yeah, thanks again, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.